good afternoon or good morning to all the other churches around here or out there. This is the fastest way for me to visit your church, wherever your territories are or your county. And I would love to go personally to shake hands with all your church members. But hey, I'm 84 years old. When you're 84 years old, you don't feel like sitting in the car for over an hour and then coming back. But like I said, I would love to come and visit your church. But you're welcome to come and visit me in this church anytime you feel like coming. I'll welcome you and I'll show you the history of this church. This church has a history. Well over 200 or more years of history. And if you come visit me, you will hear everything about the history. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to read the Mohawk Bible, which I have translated for, according to my wife, took me about 17 years. But I didn't do it every day. I only did it maybe at nighttime when I come home from work. And over the weekend, maybe 2 hours over the weekend. But in total, she made a total over 15 or 17 years it took me. So this is the finished part. It's got 2,700 pages. It's all in Mohawk. And I never knew that we could have a Bible in our language. I have always questioned, why don't we have a Bible of our own? Every other churches have their own Bible. Why not us? And then in 57, I came to church and I was sitting down there, and Reverend John Angus was doing the church service that morning, and he was from this community, a fluent speaker. He came in and he came to the front and he started speaking Mohawk. And when he started reading Mohawk and preaching in Mohawk, that's the first time I ever heard my own language in this church. And that's when my mother and I got home, and I asked her, I said, how come we don't have our own Bible? Because Reverend Angus read the scripture all in Mohawk. He translated right on the spot. I said, wow, that's a smart guy. So anyway, my mother said, well, that's a big project. Who's going to translate it? So that was a question that bothered me for maybe 35 years. Who's going to translate the Bible? I always wanted a Bible in our own language. Some of the people that I pointed for them to translate didn't do it. And anyway, and then in 74, after supper, I went out to cut our lawn or grass. And while I was cutting, the idea came. I think he sent me the word. He said, you will translate the Bible. So when I finished, I went back in and told my wife, I said, guess what? When I retire, I'm going to translate the Bible. Oh, my wife said, that's nice. So anyway, that went on. And then another long period of years when I retired, 2005, that's when I started to get serious to translate the Bible. But on and off, I used to translate little sections here and there. In 1980, we had a new minister by the name of Reverend Frank Gilmore. Maybe some of you might remember Reverend Gilmore. He was an energetic fella. He would come in here almost running and get in the front. And then the first Sunday he came, he asked the congregation, does anybody know how to read Mohawk? They all pointed at me. But at the time, I wasn't really a good reader. So Frank Gilmore, he says, next week I'll call you, I'll give you the scripture for next Sunday. And that meant I have to translate the scripture that he gave me. So I wrestled all week to translate the Scripture. So the next Sunday I came and I did read the part that he wanted me to read. And after the service, a lot of elders came to me. They liked what I read, and they said, now we heard, we understood what you read. And that's when I realized these poor elders, they used to come here every Sunday, listening to the minister up here, don't understand what he's saying, because they only spoke Mohawk. And then they asked me, well, going to read again. I said, I don't know, but which I did. This past Christmas Eve was my 41st year reading the Christmas story in this church. So anyway, and then when I retired, I started to translate this whole book into my own language. So, and what I wanted to have the cover was the 3 clans of the Mohawks. My clan is the bear. My mother was the bear. That's how I got my clan, through my mother. And they're all messengers. And then the bear, he's strong, tells us that the bear is so strong, like the Creator. In the Bible, he tells us that God is strong. So that's what the bear is telling us. And then the wolf is a watcher. He's watching your area. If anybody comes, he'll warn you. But then the turtle is very slow. Then that's another thing that the Bible tells us, that God is very slow to get angry at us when we make a mistake. So that's why I like the turtle. So all these images that's on the cover, they're all messengers. And that's what I tell the people that come to visit me when they buy the Bible. I said, before you even open the Bible, God's message is already in the cover. But then when you open the Bible, you can read the language of our nation. So it's very interesting to translate the Bible. And I also tell the young people, this language that's in here is going to be here for a long, long time. Like Jesus says, his words will never pass away. I said, so our language is in his words, is in his book. Our language will never disappear. It's going to be there for a long time. So I guess at this time, I would like to read just one verse, just to give you the taste what's in here. So I will read Genesis 1st chapter, verse 1, and I hope my eyes can stay with me till the end of this verse. Dichosa wera wanio waharum yuni, tanu waharum hunzuni, nuknuhunza aroktana tegane, tanu tejo karasque, ene konazi, kahne gonyu, tanu yomrotesum ne awon kesum. So those are the first verse of Genesis. You know, in the book of in the book of what's the book? What's other book of the Bible? Yeah, what's other books?
In the New Testament?
Yeah.
Matthew, Mark, Luke, John?
No. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't remember that one. But anyway, in the book of, which I don't remember now that book, but King James.
Oh, okay.
King James book, it says, God's Spirit was traveling above the water. Now, Spirit in Hebrew, I'm told, it means power, breath. And I like power because God is all power. But then when I got to the professor in his home translating the first verse of Genesis, he didn't like what I used, power. He says, can you say a strong wind comes from God? Yeah, I said, I can say anything you want me to say. So that's what I changed, which I didn't read this morning. But that's what he says. A strong wind came from God. Jag were sats there when you opened the door. That's in the first verse. Thanks to the professor for that one. He changed that one, that part. So anyway, that's the Mohawk word for replacing power, strong wind, which is good. You know, anything that comes from God is good. So anyway, so this is the Bible in Mohawk. So if anyone wants to get a Bible, you can call the United Church or Canadian Bible Society. They'll sell you the book. So anyway, I thank you for listening to me. And like I said, if you feel like coming to visit me in this church, come over and we can sit down and talk about it, about the translations in Mohawk. I love to talk about my translations to the people that come to visit me. So I'll be waiting for your visit. You can just come over or give me a call and give me a date that you will be coming. So anyway, and I'm sorry I can't come and visit you personally in your churches, but maybe this little video will do the job for me. So anyway, I welcome you anyway and thank you for having this first translation, complete translation in Mohawk of the Mohawk Bible. So have a good day and take care. Only you